Welcome back to A Bride's Guide to Wedding Photography, and today we're going to be talking about the thinking and the reasoning behind A Bride's Guide to Wedding Photography. And I suppose the first thing you need to know is why A Bride's Guide to Wedding Photography. Well, having retail premises, I get from time to time people calling into me and say, Ken, listen, I was wondering, can you have a look at my wedding photographs and see if there's anything you can fix? And whenever you look at the photographs, there's nothing that I can do about them. The quality of the photography that has been delivered is just, it hasn't been acceptable. And what I've seen, or my thinking is that they're getting a bit confused going through the actual process of picking a photographer. There is a purchase process that you go through with anything. It sounds a bit boring, but I'll just flesh it out just a little bit here. And that is, you have a need, and you go and research that need, and then you evaluate your research that you have done, and then you make a purchasing decision. It's during the research and the evaluation part of that process that I think people are, they're skimping over, the details and just rushing into what, everybody else is telling them to do or what they feel pressured into doing. And a lot of that I put down to social media. People are, going with photographers, and you get, bride and grooms who are naturally introverts, being forced down the route of working with an extrovert wedding photographer. An introvert and an extrovert don't work well together. It's just one of those things. For instance, I'd say to people, if you're an extrovert, I'm maybe not your photographer. I'm just a bit too quiet and reserved for the type of photography and the type of action that you're looking for on the day, and I can't provide that without being false. It's just what I want to do is give people as much information so that whenever they're going through the research part of looking for their photographer, they know what to look for, and it's not a case of walking out blind and looking for a wedding photographer, which, at the end of the day, there's very little, opportunities or, benchmarks being set and what you should actually look for in wedding photography. That's my opinion, and that's why I want to get these details out and, do it out on a weekly basis so that you know exactly what you're looking for from somebody who's worked on the inside and is revealing tips from the inside, instead of somebody in a magazine who's giving you 12 tips that have been regurgitated from some other magazine that's been regurgitated from another magazine. I'd rather give you the inside information, and that's what I want to do with the site is, give you the good stuff, give you the real stuff, not give you the shiny beads, stories and so on. It's the nitty gritty. And a lot of people who book me as a wedding photographer, primarily, they're in the medical or the teaching profession, and the detail's important to them, and this is the kind of detail that I want to get out to people, so that they can make a proper decision whenever they're looking for their photographer. So that's the thinking behind it. Regarding social media, everybody kept on saying to me, Ken, why are you not on social media? You're a good, respectable photographer, but you're not putting anything out on social media. I viewed social media as being a platform that was ideally suited for extroverts, and anybody that knows me knows that an extrovert I am not, and it's just one of those things. And I couldn't go on and gush about a wedding dress. If anybody saw me gushing about a wedding dress, they'd freaking give me a cockeyed look and say, McBride, what the hell are you at? And it's the same with photographing kids. I enjoy photographing kids, but if I put up a post saying, I could have taken that kid home and ate them all up, the first thing people have said, get that man flipping reported down to the freaking police station. And social media I viewed as being a female-only platform as far as photography was concerned. And but then this idea for the Bride's Guide to Wedding Photography came along, and I thought, no, this is my angle on social media, and this is something that I believe in, and something that I want to get out there, and something that I'm happy to get out there. And so this is the angle that I'm taking with social media. Obviously, I'll be dropping other bits and pieces in every now and then, but it's just an explanation why I avoided social media and why I'm taking it up now. YouTube videos, that's a good one. These videos scare the living daylights out of me, so they do. For me to be me being a quiet person, I mightn't come across that way, on these videos. But anybody that knows me, they know that I'm quiet, and I fly under the radar, so to speak, and don't look for any attention. And to put these videos up onto YouTube, it's a real challenge to me because I don't know what people are going to say about it. I don't know what people are going to think about it. But it's a case of listen. I just have to step out of the box, so to speak, and stretch the comfort zone a bit. And it's been a challenge, putting these videos out, but getting slowly more comfortable with it. Now, what I plan to do in the near future is, along with the weekly tips, is putting them all out in one go. But that's a polished video that's going out. So what I may do is follow up. For instance, say if there's 4 tips that are given out one week, I then may follow up with 4 live sessions on Facebook and just give a bit more of an explanation. It means you're getting to know exactly who Ken McBride is in the flesh, so to speak, and there's no edited version. It's just what you see is what you get, and that's going to be the next challenge. But onwards and upwards, as they say. So I'll just keep on putting these out, but I'm getting a little bit more comfortable putting them out now. People have been asking me, why rolling the dice? What's the thinking and idea behind that there? Well, what I want to do is just add a bit of variety. I don't want to be giving out 3 tips every week, because it just becomes a little bit more repetitive. And, 1 week, 1 tip, next week, 6 tips. You just never know what you're going to get. But it's also to reinforce the possible, gambling element that people are actually taking with their wedding photography. It's the roll of the dice. That's the way people are kind of picking their, wedding photographers. And I just want to, play along that theme just a little bit more, to realize, you can get a 6 all the time if you've got all the information, and kind of work it, that sort of way. And I suppose the next thing to do really is to see how many tips we're actually going to reveal next week. So next week's going to be 2. Listen, that's the way it was. There's nothing I can do about it. So again, was it giving the jar a bit of a shake up and picking out the 2 tips that we're going to reveal next week. I haven't a clue what these tips are. All I know is they're part of 285 tips that are going to go on the online course once it's up and running, which hopefully should be soon. But again, it's down to being afraid to move forward with things. And I don't like making mistakes, and I want to get things right, and make sure that you're getting, the real deal, so to speak. And, so watching me up to now. So if you've stuck with me this long, thanks for watching, and I'll chat to you next week with the 2 tips.